Thanks for downloading the Swearing In Podcast, where you'll hear the origin stories of those who chose to serve. So ground your gear, take a seat, and listen up. The Swearing In Podcast starts right now. Hello and welcome to the Swearing In Podcast. I am your host, Marty Smith. Today I'm proud to present an interview with former Army Sergeant Joe Guagno. Joe was sworn in 1964 at 17 years old and was an 11 Bravo Infantryman. He served in the 9th Infantry Division as well as the 25th Infantry Division. He did 12 months in Vietnam and exited the service in 1968. This was a really long interview because I was fascinated with what Joe had to say and I just couldn't bear to turn it off. So I let the interview run, which is different than my normal format. We talked for so long, in fact, that I broke it up into two parts, and this episode is part one. So that's a little background on Joe. Now let's get on with the interview.
Guagno. Is that how you say your last name?
Guagno or Guagno, it doesn't matter.
Guagno. Well, I want to
There's
say
Italian and American.
Yeah?
The Italian version is Guagno. The American version is Guagno.
I'll go Guagno because I'm the ugly American. So. So, all right, today I'm sitting here with Joe Guagno, former E4, E5, possibly E6.
E5.
E5 for 11 Bravo out of the United States Army, and he is a Vietnam combat veteran. Thanks for taking the time, Joe. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, like we talked about before, I'm always interested in what led to you getting in, joining up. Because you joined at 17, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In what year? 63?
In 64.
64. So, why'd you get in at 17?
Well, just out of high school. Did not want to go to college right away. It was peacetime Army. I figured I'd go into the military, do my time.
Where were you at? Where were you growing up? Where'd you go to high school?
Oh, I went to high school in Brooklyn, New York. Most
really?
Holy Trinity was high school.
Was it a Catholic school?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. A little strict, huh?
Yeah. I know what it is to be beat up.
All guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was all separated back then.
Yeah.
Did they have like a sister school, a female school that was in conjunction? No.
No.
Did they have all? They had all female high schools, all right?
Oh yeah, they did. But we have to invade them to get to the ladies.
That's what the dance.
I'd learn that later.
Right?
Never escape an evasion.
Very good.
But I got out and had enough, and did not want to go to college right away. Didn't know what I wanted to be, if anything, and joined the military.
But then, were they offering anything at that time?
Military?
Yeah.
Not really.
Because now you can join and you do one hitch and you got college paid for, right?
Oh yeah.
Did they have anything like that?
Yes,
okay.
under our GI Bill.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I figured, once I got out, if I decided to go back to school, Uncle Sam was going to pay for it.
Yeah. You're set
So
up.
no problem. So anyway, I did my basic in AIT in Fort Gordon, Georgia.
Yeah.
They put me in the infantry, of course.
What was basic back then? Was it 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
AIT was
and,
3?
And AIT for me was 6 weeks also.
Oh, it was 6?
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you go knowing you were 11 Bravo at that time?
When I went into AIT,
Yeah.
I knew I was an 11
Okay.
Bravo.
Okay.
Back then, I don't know how it is now, back then, if you were slated for infantry,
Yeah.
you had a different AIT.
Right.
So if you were going to be a cook or a medic or whatever it was, you were going somewhere else, or you had slightly different training.
Okay, so they did
So
11
for me-
Bravo at Gordon?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
They may be closed now. I'm not even sure.
I think it's, I thought it was like Com is there or somebody like that. I can't remember. I have to look it up.
Yeah, so at any rate, so I did all my training, and then I got my orders. for Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks,
Yeah,
Alaska.
that makes sense. We talked about that before.
And I
Send
just-
11 Bravo up to there to snow.
I said, "What is this?" And I wanted to cry. I wanted to die. I didn't, I wanted to go AWOL. So what the hell am I going to do in Alaska? So I got up there, and it was really, really depressing.
Was there a bunch of you who went
Yeah.
from your AIT class?
Yeah. And
Jeez.
we were like, it's dark. It's middle of the day. It's dark out. It's cold. It's
Right.
frigid. Oh
Right,
man.
right.
And there was a captain that greeted us, and we were all silent. And he was trying to make light of everything. And he said, "Guys, loosen up." He says, "The duty here is not that bad."
Oh.
So, all right, we'll see. Turns out that I loved Alaska,
Really?
and I loved the duty there.
Oh, no kidding.
I did. I really did. In winter, we played our winter war games, and scenario of a war with Russia,
Oh,
getting
yeah.
in the Air Force,
Yeah.
planes in the air, and taking over the bases, and putting our mark on the Bering
This
Strait.
was 64.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah, height of the Cold War.
yeah, and so we did that a few times a year. Simulated war. You draw weapons, drew ammo, atropine syrettes, gas masks. I mean, the whole
Get all your
whole bit.
vapor barrier stuff
Yeah,
and all your
yeah.
winter. Oh, yeah.
And then, then right around the holidays, they stopped everybody's passes. They pulled everybody's leaves and so on, and ordered us all back to our respective companies.
Huh.
And we could only imagine what for. And it turned out that we were being ordered to Hawaii for our jungle training.
As a follow-on into...
But they did tell us Vietnam right
Really?
away, because we weren't allowed to tell anyone.
Before we get to there, what division were you part of when you went up to Alaska?
I was the 4th of the 9th, 4th Battalion,
9th
9th Infantry.
And they're at Fort Lewis now.
Yes, because when we left Alaska,
Uh-huh.
they put us on a troop train from Fairbanks down to Anchorage, jumped on a military transport ship, the El Tinge, and stopped in Washington,
Yeah.
where the guys from Fort Lewis, and they were the Wolfhounds, got on a ship with us, and we all went over together.
Oh, okay. Did you get
Horrendous.
reflagged? When did you get reflagged as a 25th?
In Hawaii?
Okay, so once you got there, they took all your patches away and said, put the electric strawberry on, and here you go.
Yep.
Huh.
But you wore your combat patch on your right shoulder,
Right.
and whatever your old unit was on your left
Yes.
shoulder. So that's how you could tell who came from where.
Yeah, yeah.
So in Hawaii, our training was really extensive and really tough, very tough.
Up in the Kahukus. That orange dirt,
Yeah, yeah.
red dirt.
And it was escape and evasion, and it was just really tough. I mean, river crossings, the slide for life, scaling hills and rappelling hills, and
With all your equipment.
yes, with all your equipment. And in fact, our company commander was an airborne ranger, Captain Howley. He went to Washington. Well, he wrote to Washington and said, our unit should become Rangers. The only thing that we had not done was jumped out of a plane. Okay, and if they wanted us to do that, to become Rangers, we were willing to do it.
Sure.
And they said no. The Rangers fought us,
Of course they did. Of course they did.
so we weren't allowed to wear a beret.
Because you didn't go to Dahlonega. Because you didn't go to the formal school.
Yep.
Ah.
Yep. So that was a bummer. But at any rate, I knew I was as good as they were.
Did you ever jump?
No, never did.
Did you air assault? Did you rappel?
Oh yeah.
Out of the helicopter?
Out
and
of
stuff?
choppers, yeah, sure.
Did you get those wings?
No, the only ones who got those wings were First Cav. The only ones authorized We were light infantry.
Even more reason to hate those guys.
Right? And they got them. And in the Nam, okay, I'm going to throw a fact at you.
Yes, I want those.
Okay. We had the most casualties of any unit in Vietnam.
As a division or as your...
As a division, and we were in most of the campaigns. And had most of the battle streamers.
Really?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
But
Wow.
but the first cav are the ones who gets the wings.
You know, on a side note, when I was at Fort Hood, they moved us from Polk to Fort Hood. And they reflagged us from the 5th and to the 2nd Armor Division, right? Well, Fort Hood has 2 divisions on it, or it did back then. And they had the 2nd Armored, and then down the street, they had 1st Cav. And if you just drive by the motor pools, you can tell where all the money went. And all the money and all the glistening stuff was all on 1st Cav, and 2nd Armor here had like the last generations of vehicles and all that other kind of stuff. And to top it off, this was even more maddening. When you would go to the O Club, okay, the 1st Cav lieutenants and up, I think once you've done 2 years and you did something else, they would give you the Stetson and the goddamn spurs. And they said you could wear those in the O Club. And I was like, are you kidding me? And that was back when it was open base. So all the girls came on Friday night to the O Club. How you compete with a guy wearing a Stetson and
There's
spurs?
no way. No way.
Goddamn, 1st Cav, boy, I tell you.
But speaking of like a Stetson, when I pointed out my belt buckle to you, the only ones in the military, any branch of the military,
That is fantastic.
authorized, and those were issued to us, authorized to wear that belt buckle.
That is brilliant.
So,
And I wish this was a video podcast so we could show, but perhaps once I do it, I can add some pictures onto the website to it, and I can show those pieces as part of this episode. So anyway, so you go from the land of the eternal day and freezing temperatures into the Kahuku,
when I left,
through
it was
everything
60
you had.
below zero in the Uke, and 85 maybe in Hawaii.
Go back to Alaska before we jump into the Hawaii thing. What was the duty there? Why did you love it? Why did you come to like it?
The enormity, the beauty of it.
I've heard that from other people. I've never been there myself, but I've heard some people. It's kind of awestruck when you see forever.
To walk in the bush, you had to have a 44 on your hip because it was wild.
Yeah.
Bear and I mean, we were on moose trails.
Wow.
And you don't realize how big a moose is, okay?
Sure.
Until one almost, blows you over. You hear it coming, broop, broop, broop. Rocky, here comes Bullwinkle, right? And you jump off that trail.
Really?
Because your head is about equal with the lower part of his chest.
Unbelievable.
That's how big they
They're
are.
much taller than a horse, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God.
These are like 1,500, 1,600 pound animals.
Holy shit.
Okay, and they don't play,
Yeah.
and you don't piss one off either.
I'm sure they had all the soldier warnings of like, hey, don't mess around with these things.
Yep, we set up a base camp once, and one came running. Evidently we're right in the middle of like a crossing, perhaps.
Yeah.
And it was the middle of the night, and there was always guard duty, no matter where we were. Even Alaska, you had. What was it? 4 on? I think it was every 4 hours or something like this.
Sounds standard. Yeah.
You stood guard, and when you're relieved in guard duty, you're passing along a live M14.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. The rest of us had blank ammo. You had one rifle with live ammo. Because of wildlife, like a bear, a grizzly bear,
Sure.
moose, whatever. So. Crazy hunters. But there was one, the people standing guard always had live ammunition.
Okay.
At any rate, that showed the wildness of the place, which I really got into.
Did you?
I learned how to ski, and part of the duty there, because you had a ski parade, you had to be able to ski, cross-country ski,
That's not easy.
with full gear, full
That's
combat
really
gear.
not easy.
Not easy.
Did you hunt fish?
You had to be a resident. You had to be there for a year,
Oh, or else you couldn't get the.
or you couldn't do it. And
That's too bad.
When I approached my year,
Yeah.
is when they pulled us out and sent us to Hawaii for like almost 3 months, I think, 2.5 months, for our jungle training.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on another ship to the Nam. But Alaska was really super great duty. The barracks were old Air Force barracks,
Okay.
so they weren't the typical Army
Yeah.
open bay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I was I made E4 as soon as I got there, which was I got my strike prematurely. I was the squad leader in
What do you mean
AIT.
prematurely?
Well, you know,
I mean, like, what do they call that? Below the zone now, or I think that's what they call it. You got promoted early.
I did. I got promoted early. In AIT, I was, you know, you wore the armband, acting corporal,
Right.
So I made.
That's when you make other people polish the floor.
Exactly. So I made E4. So I had my own cubicle.
Uh-huh.
You know, I didn't. You know, it wasn't an open bay for me. You know,
Did you get what 3-4 guys underneath you? I mean, did you go? Was it corporal back then? Did they have corporal?
They had corporal and/or E4.
Okay. Because now it's specialists,
Right.
right? I don't know
It's specialist
I don't know what the
E4.
rank was back then. So.
So a corporal was an E4.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I had. Basically, I'm a fire team leader.
Yeah.
So I've
You
got
got 3 or 4
five
guys?
I've
Oh,
got
5
5
guys.
guys.
Okay.
Total of 5.
Yeah.
Total of 5 guys. And they were on my side of the barrack. The other side of the barrack was another person's.
And then you all fell under an E5.
An E5.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Who fell under an E6.
Right.
And then the company commander.
Right.
Sometimes you had an E7.
Did you ever want to be a platoon sergeant? Did you
No.
ever see it? No.
No. The politics were.
Oh, really?
The politics, even
Really?
back then, were like a bit much for me, because I was kind of like, I did
Yeah.
not like authority,
Yeah.
but I could
Let me
deal
see.
with it.
An Italian from Brooklyn who doesn't like authority? How rare is that?
And it was, you know, if you give me an order, and it sounds kosher,
Yeah.
no problem. But you give me one where, you know, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Okay, because some of the caliber of some of the E5s and E6s were a joke.
Of course. Of course.
And we shook them out when we were transferring or being shipped from Alaska to Hawaii.
Yeah.
How many of them sought early outs? How many of them wanted to be transferred? Okay, they were on Sam's dime, okay, for the peacetime army and the benefits.
But when the shit hit the fan,
Yeah, it was like they were, you know, heading for the hills.
Yeah.
So you lost
Which is
respect
good.
for them right away.
right? Which is good.
Yes. Well, which is good. I had one E5 who hated me. This is when I got busted down. No, he was an E6. Excuse me.
Wait,
So-
what happened? What do you mean when you got busted down?
Well, I tell you, I was AWOL.
Oh, you mean towards the end? Okay, okay.
So now this is in the Nam.
That same damn E5.
He was an E6. I won't give his name, but he was a Southern gentleman with, I think, the education. He probably had an IQ of about 60. In one particular firefight, he's with his machine gunner, assistant gunner, and automatic rifleman. It was a squad, let's say.
Yeah.
Or a fire team, rather, a fire team. And he would not allow the M60 to open up because he didn't want to give away their position.
It's too late by that
We
time.
walked
isn't
into an ambush, and he did not want to give away his position.
it? Oh my God.
Okay, chicken shit. Okay, he fell into barbed wire and wanted a Purple Heart for it.
So I guess it didn't shake out all those guys.
That's my boss up there. Okay? It's a picture of Jesus.
Yes.
So if I'm lying to you, he'll strike me dead.
Very good. Fair enough.
Okay.
So it wasn't just enough of the Viet Cong and the MVA bullets. You had to also suffer that.
Yes. So if I'm dealing with intelligence, I will treat you with respect.
Sure.
And I'll honor your requests. If you give me an order to do something that is not right, it goes against my oath.
Right.
Okay, I'm not having it.
Yeah.
You tell me to lie about this, or I was ordered to take out a husband and wife. They had been shot up. The wife's jaw was shot out, and the husband's stomach was shot out. They were going to die. I was ordered to finish them off. Mercy, basically. And I said, I will not do it. I'm giving you an order.
Oh, no.
I don't care what you're giving me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
I walked away from it.
Good. Good for you. Oh, my God.
Told you I was clean.
That's a rarity. Or it seems like it's a rarity. Actually, it's probably not a rarity. But
The guys I hung with were respectful, and we watched each other and kept each other in check.
now I want to go back because I want to lead up to the guys that you hung out with, because I liked the last time we talked of how you guys sectioned off. But so you're back in Hawaii, right? You're getting your ass beat by the Kahukus. Probably should have got tabbed. And then, you guys know you were going?
Yes.
But at that
We
time,
knew in Alaska that we were going.
but at that time, the war wasn't that big, right? So you didn't, when you joined, you didn't think, oh, I may
Never
have to
heard of
go
no.
over to Vietnam.
Never heard of
Because
no.
at early 60s, there was no press on it.
No.
There was no nothing, right? Hell, you're just coming off of,
You had advisors there.
you're just coming off of Kennedy's assassination, right? So you were in high school when Kennedy
Yes.
got assassinated. Was that, how did that hit you? Was it,
The assassination, it did hit me because I've always had a political nature, and I saw Kennedy as one of the rare presidents who seemed honest on the surface
huh.
and was leading us, I felt, in the proper direction.
That's what I remember talking to my parents, and they were saying the same thing, and they weren't politically minded. There wasn't any coverage of it, not like there is today, and especially being a 16 approximately year-old kid
Right.
who really who pays attention to politics. But that's it always strikes me when you talk to people of your generation how impactful that was when hell you don't know politics, you don't know nothing,
Right.
and you don't have that much news. So
Yeah, anything I knew was on the surface.
yeah,
Channel 7, ABC, CBS,
right,
whatever.
right. But it still stopped you in your tracks, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah. It was like, because I'm a patriot, whoever did it, I didn't know really who did it.
Yeah.
Okay, they said this guy did it. Well, whatever. That's what you say. I don't necessarily believe it. But
Especially now.
to me, it was like a slap in the face when you do something against my country.
Yeah.
Okay, and I take it personally, very personally.
Sure.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm dying, but if they came down my street, okay, the bad boys came down my street, or guys in the blue helmets, okay,
Right,
they come down my
right.
street, I'm going to open fire. I'll go out fighting because I don't have that fear anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
What could frighten me? You can't frighten me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm this brave person. But I've been frightened with my life for 365 days.
Wow. Let's get back. So you're there. When did? Do you remember when they said like debarkation date or anything like that?
They gave us an approximate time,
Yeah.
a date, but again, they weren't sure like what ship was going to be available to us.
Right.
And that would determine, so it could have been a week or 2 weeks
Yeah.
in the difference. But we knew, within we knew within a 2 or 3 week period when we would be going.
So they had you all build it up at Schofield, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Schofield Barracks. Nice
Did you ever
place.
get down to see Honolulu or Waikiki?
Oh, hell
or
yeah.
anything? Did they ever give you time off?
Oh, yeah. You were off every day after work.
Oh, okay.
They gave us that latitude.
Okay.
Yeah, every day after work.
It's not a quick drive down that goddamn highway, but
Well, we'd get right on the bus, take us right into
yeah, right.
Honolulu,
yeah.
Hotel Street. You know, and
For those of you listening who don't know Hotel Street, go look up Hotel Street. I tell you.
but yeah, I had a lot of fun there, you know, and I was too young to drink, you know.
Did they have
Yeah,
a drinking age back
I was too young to drink and too young to vote. Believe that or not.
then? Could you drink on base?
No,
Oh, really?
I tried to buy beer, and they carded me on base, and they made me put the beer
I
back.
thought back then it was all 18 and it didn't really care. Wow.
States, it went by the state.
Yeah.
We're talking about 1965, 1966.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. I mean, again, I was not allowed. I was too young to vote and too young to drink. When I made it home, people were, yeah, come on, I'm gonna buy you a drink. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you know, I'm too young.
Right.
What do you mean you're too young? You just spent 3 years in the service. Yeah, I'm too young to drink.
Oh, Jesus.
Wasn't too young to carry a gun or kill.
Yeah, right. Well, you had some drinks in Vietnam. I suppose that was one good thing to go over there.
It was Article 15 offense.
Really?
You
Wow.
see, this is the part of Nam people don't know about. You see it on TV, and they're after, you know, the guys are wearing civvies or whatever, and they're in some downtown Ville, whatever,
yeah.
and they're with girls and drinking alcohol and having a good time. I don't know that Vietnam. I know Cu Chi, Vietnam, which was the Ville itself was an enemy Ville.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Vietnam I know. No drinking. If you got caught with alcohol, with hard liquor,
Yeah.
Article 15 offense.
Sure.
If they gave us 3.2 beer, and we got that maybe every 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah.
Okay, if that. If you got caught with anything, any contraband, you're in deep crap.
Yeah, that doesn't.
And that's
get
no bullshit.
You know, a lot of that history has been so whitewashed by movies and all that other stuff. You know, I think Oliver Stone's Platoon is a good movie.
That was my unit,
Right.
25th.
But it's a good movie, but I think there's parts of it there that people try to say, oh, that was happening in every unit.
Right.
They were all getting high. They were
But
all
that was
getting-
all Hollywood too.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that.
And
I'm glad you said that.
I got high once. I got high once in the Nam, one time,
Yeah.
grass, and I was so paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and I swore I would never do it again. And until I sobered up or straightened out, I probably walked the same area 100 times,
Did you?
getting myself right, because I was so paranoid. I said, "They're going to hit us now.
Sure.
I'm high, and they're going to hit us, and I'm screwed. And oh my God, okay." And it straightened me right out. Never did it again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, because that's part of and that's one of the reasons I want to talk with you. You know, is to get some of those stereotypes out.
You have heads here in the world. They were heads. They were heads in Nam, and they were heads here in the world, and they were heads before they went into the military. You know, they got drafted back in those days.
Right.
So Sam didn't ask, "Are you an alcoholic? Are you a druggie?" He didn't much care. I need your body to go to Nam.
Well, that's where all those damn cadences came from, right? Go to war or go to jail, right?
That's right.
And that was the option.
Yes. Yeah.
Could you tell right away the guys who were drafted versus the guys who went and signed up on their own?
Yes. And now I'm going to go to the end of the story.
Okay.
I had 6 months left when I got out of Nam. They wanted me to extend. My CO wanted me to extend. He said, "Look," he says, you have a profile. We can't send you out anymore.
Were
He
they going to
said-
give you a? Were they going to give you a bonus if you extend?
Yeah, they were going to give me a bonus.
Yeah.
And they were going to make me the bartender at the officers' club.
Oh, you're kidding.
Right? And I looked at him. It's Captain Torciano, an Italian boy from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He says, yeah. He says, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. And I says, no, man. I said, I'm out of here. I said, I can't do this. So, at any rate, when I got
How long did they want you to extend for?
4 months.
Okay. That seems an odd time.
But, we used to get mortared all the time because of where we were.
Yeah.
So here's Kuchi, Mekong River. Here's Cambodia.
Yeah, you're right in
Russian
range of
artillery.
everything,
Boom, boom, all the time.
Huh.
Constant.
Why would you want to go through 4 more months? of
Exactly.
Even
because
pouring drinks.
They can kill a cook or a medic as easily as they can kill a
Probably
bartender or
Yeah.
or an 11 Bravo.
that? Yeah, yeah.
So no, I'm out of here. So at any rate, sent me to California to Fort Ord,
Okay.
Monterey,
Yeah, yeah.
and talk about all the hippie dippies there. That was during the Monterey Pop Festival. That
When
was
it
the
first started?
granddaddy. That was the granddaddy of all.
Is this what? This is when you got back?
When I got back.
Okay.
Okay, and so I'm in Fort Ord, and they had us separated, veterans on this side and short timers on this side, and all the recruits on that side. Okay, and we would see them marching and whatever, and they'd all have peace signs on their helmets and
Really?
giving us the finger like, "F you, baby killers,
Yeah,
suckers, and we had brawls. I mean,
Really?
real brawls.
Yeah.
And they were looking to kick the crap out of us, and we were looking to kill them. See,
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Combat, non-combat. You want a street fight? We'll give you the street fight, but we're going to take it a little further than that. Because the only way you're not going to come back at me is I put you down permanently.
Well, how many hippies knew how to fight, right? I bet
It was-
I know there was a lot of them.
It was a bad scene, but
Yeah.
they were GIs, and we used to look at ourselves and say, like we didn't believe in the war, okay, but we believed in each other.
Yeah. Well, going back, was it when you first got there? You said March or May of '66?
It was March or April
Okay.
of '66.
And so you're part of the 25th Infantry Division. Were you in?
We were the 25th when we got there.
Sorry.
We were it.
And you were in 3 Corps. Was it called Corps?
Yeah.
So you were in the 3 Corps area, which is Saigon, and that area, Iron Triangle. What was the Hobo Woods? Or Bobo Woods? What was it? What was it called?
Hobo Woods.
Hobo Woods.
Lobo Woods.
Yeah.
Boiloy, and Michelin rubber tree plantations.
Yeah. Yeah, that old rubber plant, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's all in the documentary.
Yeah.
You were putting foot on the ground right where they were talking about. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Now, what was it? What was the story you told me? How we had talked about that movie and how they kind of broke off into their factions. The platoons did, right? Or the platoon, had the potheads go one time and had the other guys kind of break off. But you said you had your group of Italians, right? That you hung out with, or the captain designated you.
The Little Rascals.
The Little Rascals. That's right. Were they all guys that were from Brooklyn or from the neighborhood?
The Northeast.
Or just in general, they were all from the Northeast.
From the Northeast, from a couple from the Midwest, only a couple, and then a bunch from California. But we were all hip. We weren't farm boys with corn cobs sticking out of our ears. We're hip dudes. Talking a lot of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And watched out for one another. So we kind of like gelled.
Sure.
And we watched out for each other and made sure that no other group or whatever, like some of the brothers. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to get into that.
I can always edit it out if we need to.
The brothers got to be pretty nasty there.
Really?
And in one case, and I forget the base camp. Damn it, they rigged they rigged the CO club, the enlisted man's club. I'm gonna get it right. They rigged the enlisted man's club with grenades.
Holy
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. And so this one particular night, when they had the trap set, none of them obviously were there.
Yeah.
So some grenades went off and some guys got killed.
Wow.
And
Oh my
they
God.
thought maybe it was enemy sappers
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know, maybe like the barber who's a Vietnamese, maybe he was, you know.
These were guys in your own platoon,
These
or were they in your own company?
not in my company,
Oh, okay.
and in a different base camp
Okay.
that this happened. But we got word of the whole thing to be watchful, okay?
Huh.
But it was like against Whitey,
Wow.
that kind of crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we looked at them, and from that point on, we looked at them a little differently,
Sure.
okay? Like, you know, I'll watch for you and you'll watch for me, but we ain't brothers anymore.
Right. Right. Did you ever find that when you were in action, that ever came up, or was it just kind of that all that stuff's forgotten?
Never in action. There was
And you were fighting elbow to elbow with whoever's next to you.
was one fire team, and this is in Idrang. This is Idrang. One fire team that got shut up pretty bad. Mm-hmm. Well, the whole company.
Yeah, well,
They were
yeah.
down to like handfuls of men, sporadic. And there was one black guy who had not been wounded yet. In a blind, if you will, with 3 other guys. One was dead, and 2 were wounded, and they were all white.
Okay.
He had a chance to get up and go, to get up and run, to save himself. The black guy. He didn't.
He fought.
He stayed.
For those guys.
He stayed, and he died shortly after they found him.
Huh.
But he could have left. So you had good.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You know, not all black guys were bad or good, and not all white guys were bad or good. Okay? The guys that we hung with were good guys. There was no intimidating people. There was no pulling a gun on people.
Right.
Okay? No trying to rob people or take advantage of them. We were not like that.
Yeah.
We were out to have fun, fight the war, and have fun amongst ourselves, but we're not going to screw anybody, and there's no murder.
That's fantastic.
So
That's
that's
great.
who we were.
So what'd I tell you, huh? Awesome, awesome stuff from the former Army Sergeant, Joe Guagno. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Swearing In Podcast. Coming up on the next episode will be part 2, where you'll hear more about Joe's field time in Vietnam, to include how he got wounded. Don't miss the rest of his story. So until next time, on your feet, fall out!